this will depend on at what stage in the process you refuse to take a test. Now, when you're arrested for a DUI, actually before you're arrested, the officer will typically ask you to do a preliminary alcohol screening test called the PAS test. If you blow into that and you're above or at the legal limit of 0.08 in the San Francisco Bay Area in California and pretty much most of the United States, they will arrest you for DUI, and then they're required to give you a choice of tests. And those tests are now a blood test or a breath test. There used to be the choice of a urine test. That's not a choice anymore after arrest unless there's some complications, and I'm not going to get into that right now. If you say, I don't want to do a test or I'm not going to do a test, you don't choose, then they are supposed to read you an admonishment. And this is called implied consent. And what it basically means and what it says is that you impliedly consented to take a breath test or a blood test when you signed up to get a driver's license, if you're arrested for a DUI. So at the point where the cops say you're under arrest for DUI, after that, you have to consent to a blood test or a breath test. And if you do not do that, if you refuse to do that after they read you an admonition which says you're going to lose your license for a year or more, then what happens is you will potentially lose your license for a year or more. Now, the question was, what happens to my driver's license? Odds are, when it comes down to winning against DMV, odds are against you in saving your license, but we have saved many licenses after refusals to take a test over the years. They're very difficult cases to win with DMV, but we have won quite a few over the years. Your license will not go into suspension right away if and when you refuse to take that chemical test. What's going to happen is, as long as you, or preferably your attorney, requests an administrative hearing within 10 days of your arrest, and that's 10 calendar days, then you will get what's called a stay of suspension. And instead of only having a 30-day temporary license, which will be a pink sheet that they will give you when they take your license after arrest, you will get that extended, and you will get to drive for what could be many months or well over a year, depending on how long your case goes on with DMV. And also there's the court case that's going on as well, where you also risk losing your license for a year or more, depending on what happens there. But the big concern with these cases is typically the Department of Motor Vehicles refusal action, and that's because there's much less of a burden of proof for the DMV to take your license away because of a refusal to take a chemical test, a blood test, or a breath test after an arrest in the San Francisco Bay Area or anywhere in California.